So Clacton has officially broken the record for the longest ballot paper in British history. And this is partially because all of the mainstream parties have completely boycotted this by-election, and that meant that 34 other candidates went forward to try and fight for this seat. Now, you already know about Nigel Farage and Count Binface, but the rest of this list is an absolute minefield. There are some really good local candidates, there are some absolute internet Fruit Loops, and there are some people in here with some really shocking and dangerous records. So what I thought I'd do today is take all of the remaining candidates and categorise them in the only way I know how, which is a tier list, just so you can see who you're voting for. So we're going to split this down into sections, and obviously, with there being 32 candidates, some aren't all going to get as much time as some of the others. So you can see at the bottom, we've got all of the candidates listed, and we've got a photo of all of them for you as well, apart from the two who haven't submitted a photo. So in typical Have I Got News For You fashion, they will be represented by a tub of lard. I'm going to split these into 4 categories. We've got the danger zone, which is for the really dangerous Fruit Loops, the, racist, far right, misogynist, that lot. Then we've got the outer space, because it's not just Count Binface that's from outer space. There are some quite eccentric philosophies in this election. Then we have the Jesters, so there are quite a few joke candidates, so we'll pop all those in there for you. Then we have the Ideologues, so I've called this category the spectrum. So these are for single issue or ideological spectrum parties. And then last but by no means least, we've got the locals. And these are for people, most of which are local, who are fighting on, or appear to be fighting on, genuine local issues that affect the town. So with that, let's get started. And up first, it's Lawrence Fox, the out-of-work actor who was permanently sacked from GB News for launching into a misogynistic tirade. When he's not out burning pride flags, you might find him defending his current case against an upskirting charge levelled against him. He goes directly to the danger zone. But believe it or not, he is not the worst person on this list. Next is Woke Trump Kazi. His manifesto is a mix of environmentalism and anti-corporate pricing, so it's pure performance. He can go straight into Jesters. And next we've got another from the Internet Fruit Loops category, and this is Marcus White from the Everyone is God party. Now, his entire political platform seems to revolve around sex and psychology, but when he's not pushing that, he also sells masculinity courses. Along with his adult content creator partner, they have both faced backlash because of videos showing them for claiming that victims of rape bear half of the responsibility for their own assaults. These are stupid, dangerous people, and they can go straight into the danger zone, but still, these are not the worst people on this list. Now let's go for John Stevens. He represents Rejoin EU, and he's standing on a fairly bog-standard single-issue platform to reverse Brexit. So he goes clearly into the spectrum. Now for, in my view, the most dangerous person and the most idiotic person on this list. Kai Stevens from the British Democratic Party. And I swear I've seen that haircut somewhere before. I can't quite put my finger on where. No, it's gone. So this guy is a far-right nationalist, and he really puts the phobia in homophobia, because I get the feeling he is genuinely scared. This guy is obsessed with all things LGBT. Unfortunately, he's not quite as obsessed with typography as you can see with his Leave Our Patriotic Kids Alone alternative banner. More recently, involved in a verbal altercation with the security staff at the Clacton Pier, because as a celebration of his candidacy, he and some of his friends took some fireworks there to have a little firework display on the Clacton Pier. It's made of wood, Kai. It's made of wood. What do you think is going to happen if you set off fireworks on a wooden pier? Go on, think really hard. Come back to me. My email address is in the channel profile. He goes directly to the danger zone. And finishing off the danger zone for now, we'll have Martin Davis. So this chap believes that climate change is a globalist plot to control the population. So you can go straight to danger zone. Not particularly dangerous, certainly not as dangerous as the other right-wing nuts, but anyone with so little scientific understanding is capable of anything. So you can sit quite happily in the danger zone. So if we look at some of the ideologues, we've got Daniel Pocock. Now, he's got no official description. He's a former software engineer, and he seems to spend most of his time talking about feuds he's had with various software companies and drivelling on about Charles Manson. I'm unsure with this one. He was really close to being in danger zone, but I'm just going to stick him in outer space for now because I don't quite understand what his deal is. And then we get to some of the Jesters. So we've actually got 3 entries from the official Monster Raving Loony Party. Now, I don't think they've ever put 3 in before. So we've got Howling Lord Hope, Nick the Incredible Flying Brick, and Baron Von Thunderclap. And out of these 3, we're going to put Howling Lord Hope in the lead because his policy of reducing NHS waiting list by using a smaller font is the best Monster Raving Looning policy out there. Then we've got Joseph77, whose real name is Tom Darwood, a retired carpenter standing under a biblical pseudonym. He claims his personal life directly mirrors the figure of Joseph and wants to act as a surrogate prime minister. You can act as a member of outer space for the purposes of this list, Joseph. Then we've got William Clawston. Now, he's from the Social Democratic Party. He runs on left-leaning economic protectionism combined with traditional socially conservative views on immigration. So he lands pretty cleanly in the spectrum. Now for this section, we'll close this section out with, and I apologise if I'm butchering your name, Adham Al-Khatib from the Forward Party. So he's an aerospace student running on digital governance and anti-corruption. But we've also got James Ransley for the Consensus Party campaigning on structural government reform. They can both go in the spectrum. And we move on to section 4. So these are the independents. Now, we've got 16 local independent candidates on this huge piece of paper. Now, most of them are ordinary local residents running clean campaigns to save their town. So to save your time, we're going to speed run through these and just go through what they actually want. There are some serious options in here. So if you live in Clacton, you might want to pause the video to read your choices. Ataya Fard is a high-profile local candidate, explicitly pitching herself as a serious, sober alternative to the toxic culture wars. Pamela Walford, former Conservative and Reform candidate and part-time stunt double for Gary Oldman, along with Tony Francis and Nick Pellas, all are local care workers and are fighting to fix the local hospital crisis, which, interestingly, this is a hospital crisis we have never heard mentioned by Mr. Mirage. So then we've got the economy and high street groups. Andy Earlham is a local activist fighting against extreme regional deprivation and housing shortages. Mark Wilkinson, Robin Green and Tony Kane are all campaigning to bring investment back to the struggling coastal high streets and to stop beach erosion. And then we have Abby Hookway, who originally was going to go in with the locals, and admittedly it's nice that she's pulled out because we don't necessarily now have to talk about the accusations of irresponsible lending advice and also comparisons of some of her business practices with pyramid schemes. So yeah, I think it's quite lucky. We will pop her in dangerous, although she has actually now pulled out, which I think is for the best. And now for the rest of the civic independents, we've got Rhys Cowan, Glenn Cummings, Stephen Ingram, Amy Morris, Derek Morris, Michael O'Keefe, Martin O'Brien, and Jerry Smith. Now, all of these are campaigning on basic regional issues like youth clubs and bus routes and antisocial behaviour and council transparency. So all of these can go into the locals, but these may well be worth looking at if you are a resident, because some of these may be campaigning on issues that matter to you. So to tie up loose ends, and again, I apologise if I'm butchering your name, but we've got Ketan Kumar Pipatia of UK Voice. Now, we're going to pop him in the spectrum because it's a fairly standard platform focusing just on town safety and antisocial behaviour. So it's a fairly singular platform he's going on. And there you have it, the complete record-breaking Clacton ballot laid bare. Now, once you filter out the deliberate joke acts, the internet rabbit holes, and the very, very concerning lot we've got up there in the danger zone, this is the reality of what voters are going to be looking at. Now, if you let me know in comments, where would you put Nigel Farage and Count Binface on this list? I think I know where I'd put them both, but I'll be very interested to hear what you've got to say. So I hope you found that useful, and I'll see you in the next one.